Assalamu alaikum. This is my YouTube channel, and in this video I'm going to talk about the different issues of the women, those the women are actually facing right now nowadays. And these basically I'm going to start from the threats to reproductive rights. So, threats to reproductive rights. According to the Center for Reproductive Rights, 40% of the women live under restrictive laws. So the women have to live under some laws. Those are restrictive, which represents over 750 million women of the reproductive age. So 6% of the women live in countries where abortions are prohibited completely. So there are a lot of countries where where abortions are not allowed. So 6% of the women live in those countries. According to contraception increased from 900 million in 2000 to almost 1.1 billion in 2021. But barriers like misinformation about contraception, fear of side effects, and access remains. According to the UN Populations Fund, around 257 million women who don't want to become pregnant still aren't using safe and modern contraception. So the women are not using the safe and the modern contraception. So, sixth one issue I'm going to talk about the woman is lack of education. She is not being allowed to have education. All children deserve access to education. So they deserve to be educated, but the girls have historically faced more discrimination. Progress has been made, but according to the UNICEF, 129 million girls are still not in school. Reasons include poverty. So due to poverty, she is not allowed at all to have education. She is not allowed to go to school. So gender-based violence, early marriage, and the lack of safety. The lack of safety, hygiene, and sanitation resources. So she is not being allowed to have education. Low-income countries have the widest gaps according to the World Bank. So while the world average of the girls enrolled in primary schools is 88%, and it's 78% in low-income countries. So seventh one issue the women are facing is basically the food insecurity. So it's another issue the women are facing is food insecurity. Women face more food insecurity than the men. Research from the World Food Program identifies a few reasons why. The first is that the women are more likely to live in extreme poverty. So she would have to live in poverty. Globally, women earn just 77 cents for every dollar earned by men. She earned just 77 cents for every dollar earned by men. Women also face unequal treatment during times of the crisis and are more able to malnutrition during pregnancy, and all those factors contribute to lack of food security, which in turn negatively impacts other areas of the woman's life. So she's pregnant, she is not being allowed to have good food and the other services. So she faces a lot of issues. And the side effect of all those we also see. Eighth one issue the women are facing is climate change. Research consistently shows that the women are more vulnerable to the effects of the climate change. One reason is that the women depend on natural resources. She is depending on natural resources. So during times of the famine or other disasters, women face the added burden of trying to obtain food. In lower income countries, women also make up a large percentage of the agriculture industry. So she is basically a part of the agriculture industry, a lot of women, which is the hardest hit by the climate change. So when she is hit by the climate change and she suffers, women also face increased risk of violence and sexual exploitation during the climate-related emergencies. And the ninth one issue the women are facing is basically unequal political representation. So it's also the major issue the women are facing. Society can't achieve gender equality until there is equal political representation. When the society wanted to achieve the gender equality, so they would have to give the equal representation to the women. According to the survey conducted by the Plan International, women still feel consistently excluded from the politics. She is being excluded from the politics. She is being excluded from lot of things. Half of the survey participants live in communities where they felt like it wasn't okay for girls and young women to be involved in politics. So it is not considered good that women should be involved in politics. Especially when I talk about the India and Pakistan. 19% said they had been actively discouraged from getting involved. The UN estimates that it will take 130 years for the world to reach gender equality in the highest positions of power. So the 10th one is discriminatory social institutions. There are a lot of social institutions. Those are discriminatory. Social institutions are the laws, formal, informal, norms and standards that determine how society functions. These are basically the laws. Those determine how society should have to function. Unfortunately, gender inequality is embedded into just about every country's social institutions in one way or another. According to the OECD, many countries have instituted legal reforms that untangle gender discrimination from their institutions, but 40% of the women and girls still live in countries where with high or very high discrimination. So 40% of the women live in those countries where there is lot of high discrimination. Social norms have progressed the best, but economic empowerment got worse between 2014 and 2022. Until discriminatory practices are eliminated, gender inequality will persist. So I have talked about a lot of issues like discriminated social institutions, unequal political representation, climate change, and food insecurity. I have talked about the lack of education. I have talked about the threats to reproductive rights. So I have talked about the issues women are facing nowadays.